Hello guys and welcome to today's video. I'm Magic here and I'm bringing to you the top 5 competitive budget decks in the July 2021 format. So going off this is going to be decks that you're going to be spending around 100, 150 pounds, give or take. So this is personally what I think are going to be the top 5 decks. Coming in at number 5, it's a brilliant deck right now. Mostly used in different combos with different decks, but I'm going to give it to Shadow. So pure Shadow, it's cheap to get. It's mainly 3 structure decks, but the Shadow cards on their own without the Dogmatica or the Invoked are still a pretty strong strategy. You have cards like Dragon, which is a back row pop and also has a brilliant flip effect. You have Squib, which sets up your graveyard. And a lot of the cards that come in the structure deck. So you've got Winder still. The Winder lock is brilliant. And because the 3 structure decks are quite cheap, you can splash out to get a little bit of better cards. Good cards in the extra deck. You can get free Schisms. And this will still most likely keep you within the budget. So, and then adding on hand traps as well, you can play a Law of Darkness as well because it's going to be a dark deck, so you have some draw strategy in there. It's a pretty well-rounded, good deck, and that's why it's taking the number 5 spot. Coming in at number 4, this is a bit of an older deck and a bit of a surprise to see on this list, but I'm giving it to Altergeist. Altergeist are a control-heavy trap deck, and it's a really, really budget card. You can pick up all of the cards you need for fairly cheap. 3 multi-faker is now since the ban list a little while ago, a few ban lists back. 3 multi-faker means that this deck is working at full capacity. And you can play different floodgates as well. You can play a Royal Decree if you need to go against another trap deck. I wouldn't recommend that one too much. But I mean, an Imperial Order would be brilliant against a Sky Striker deck and other decks as well. A summon limit in this deck really works well and can hindrance a lot of other plays. Not to mention your Impermanence turn 1 to do your multi-faker plays on your opponent's turn and all the Solemn cards. Not to mention, this deck can also run Mystic Mine. And the extra deck doesn't need too much. You might not be able to afford an extravagance, you could go down that route, but a Pot of Duality will work just as well, digging you 3 cards deeper in there, and you get to have a little look. You may not special summon, but you're not likely to. But this deck is a very good control deck, and I definitely would recommend it for this format. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to give this one to Dino. I know what you're thinking, Miscellaneousaurus is that one. However, this deck is still fairly cheap. Animadorn Archosaur is still going to be an expensive card, but it's not as expensive as it was when Dino was top tier. So with Dino, you could easily play with just one Miscellaneousaurus. The rest of the cards are going to be in a structure deck. You can run whatever hand traps you need. There are budget hand traps out there, guys. Fair enough, Ash Blossom is not a cheap card and neither is Nibiru. However, you could easily get Effect Veilers. If you want to splash the cash, you could go for an Ash Blossom playset. It is worth it. But if you're staying within a budget, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about the extra deck with Dinos. You can play just a very control-y turn 2 strategy where you don't need an extra deck, just toolboxes. But right now with the King's Court, I believe, reprint of Dolka. Dolka, so that's a brilliant rank 4 card for the Dino deck as well. And that'll be now a lot cheaper because it was a very expensive card. But Dino is just one of them very powerful decks, and with one Miscellaneousaurus, still could be very good. Don't get me wrong, you still have free Fossil Dig, you still have your Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and you have your free Soul Eating Oviraptor. So this deck is still working at a very strong capacity. But unfortunately not as good as the next 2 decks on the list. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to give this one to Prank Kids. Prank Kids is a very budget deck, the only expensive card being Prank Kid Place. But it comes down to it, half of the deck is the engine, the other half is hand traps. So you could go more towards the £150 end of the list here to then go for the best hand traps. And of course, the Link 1 monster and the rest of the Link monsters aren't going to be cheap, but the rest of the deck is fairly cheap. You might have to play without Prank Kid's Place, which then does lower the power and the consistency of the deck. However, all you need is one of your monsters, and you have a 1-card combo to go into all of your fusions and Link plays. This is a very cheap and powerful deck. Definitely a top tier contender, and Prank Kids is not a deck to laugh about. Having 2 Raigekis on your opponent's turn is crazy. So this is a brilliant deck, but unfortunately gets overshadowed by the number 1 spot. Coming in at number 1, if you haven't guessed it already, it's the best budget deck there has been and probably ever will be for a long time. It's Salamandra. Salamandra has had a brilliant resurgence in the last few weeks. The fact that Stalio is now back gives the deck super consistency now, already on top of what they had. All of the deck cards, barring Sunlight Wolf and whatever hand traps you decide to use, apart from Ash Blossom, is going to be in the structure deck. But Sunlight Wolf has had now so many reprints, being the OTS Super Rare, I believe there was a common print, and now there's the Ultra prints as well. This card is no longer the price tag like it was when Salamandra was a very top tier deck. This is a competitive deck right now. It is coming up in a top 5 deck coming up soon with me in the competitive deck, and it's definitely going to be there. This is a powerful deck, and you can run a plethora of hand traps. Remember, you're going to already have the play set of Ash Blossoms, so that's already one expensive amount off the list. Then you can go into your impermanences if you have to spend your money like that. Unfortunately, you won't be able to, in a budget situation, play Access Code Talker. This is a big money card for the deck and helps go into your OTK. However, you can easily swap this out for another card, either Topological Trispania, which a lot of decks do decide to use, or just throw in a Boral Sword. Back in the olden days, that's how they used to do it back in the Dark Neostorm format. I can't see why this wouldn't work here. Again, you're going to have such a good toolbox of cards for Salamandra. It's so easy to learn, it's so versatile and hyper consistent, and that's why it's number 1. Please comment down below what you think I should be making next. I will be making a top 5 deck list for the July 2021 format coming out soon, and there's going to be some in real life duels between me and a couple of my friends, all playing competitive decks, including Salamandra, Sky Striker and Eldritch, so you're going to have that coming up soon as well. But please like, subscribe, tell your nan to go follow because she can go join Yu-Gi-Oh! Why not? But please, have a good day. Thank you very much, guys. Peace.